Hey there. My name is Harshacharya and I'm from Ahmedabad University, and this is my attempt at deciphering karma for a summer school course we are doing known as Art of Argumentation from Mahabharata. And so I'm going to start by explaining 3 different types of karma. Most of the content that I speak of, at least in terms of my description of karma as a general theory, is from a book by Hirabai Thakur called Theory of Karma. So that book states that the first stage of karma is kriyaman karma, which is an action done at the spur of a moment, which instantly bears fruits and results in reaction there and then. So this can easily be explained as you doing something such as you cook and you eat the same food that you just cooked. And a lot more examples can be given for such, but this is normally just something that you do, an action, and then you bear a fruit right after you do this action. And then there is sanchit karma, which is a cumulative sort of karma. This is where the actions that you do are done by you, a karma, but you do not bear the fruits of this karma until a later time. So while this time is going on, you will continue to live your life in a normal way, and then when this karma actually happens, it could be lifetimes away, it could be in the same life, you could be simply having to wait a day or two, but it will not happen right after, as was the case in the kriyaman karma. But in the sanchit karma, it is done where you do an action and then you bear the fruits of this action at an opportune time in the future. Until this time, these fruits remain in balance and are accumulated, sanchit, until their fructification, and they would not be neutralized before this. So, say you kill someone in this lifetime, you will probably not bear the fruits of the consequence in this lifetime, but will have to wait maybe 5 lifetimes down the line to bear the consequence of what you have done. So it remains stagnant in this time. The last is prarabdha karma, and which are the now ripened karmas which you have waited for from the sanchit karma. And these are ready to bear fruits. And so, say you murdered someone 5 lifetimes ago, you have now reached the lifetime, the 5th lifetime after that. And this is the lifetime where you will face the consequences. A lot of the commonly used words for this phenomenon, or karma, as we call it, are known as some things like destiny or luck or fate or fortune, where you claim it is just the doing of the past, it is just some magical force helping you out, instead of it being something that you did, affecting you at a later time. So in the Mahabharata, there is a lot of mention of karma everywhere. Karma is one of the most important concepts in the Mahabharata and in life, in normal everyday life. It is a worldly concept that's unanimously followed by everyone, whether you like it or not. So karma is eternal, in the sense that it started from when the sun started rising in the east and setting in the west, since the inception of the universe. And it will remain in force till the end of the universe, the date by which the sun will stop rising, which are dates that are not known and will never be known to anyone. So this means that karma is eternal. It has been there since the inception of the universe or the world, and it will remain until the destruction or the end, which neither of these dates are really known to anyone so far. Karma is also universal, in the sense that it is applicable to one and all the persons and creatures in all the countries of the world and the entire universe, as I said earlier. It is not that it is applicable to only Indians, and that too only to Hindus, because it was repeated and recited by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of Kurukshetra in India. It is applicable to all the people from different races, castes, creeds, ethnicities in the whole world. So there is no one void from this concept of karma that we are following unanimously. Karma is applicable in a follow-up to this would be that yes, karma is applicable in all the generations and eras of the earthly cycles, namely, as we know them now, the Satyug, the Treta, the Dwapar, and the Kalyug, which are what we are in currently. and in all the centuries past, present, and future. Another thing about this law is that it is totally perfect in the sense that there hasn't been a single amendment in the law till now, since time immemorial, which is forever, and there is not going to be a single amendment in the law, almost not until the end of the universe, entire universe. There is not a single condition in the law either. So you cannot say there is no, oh, if there is an amendment because if only if this, then the law is perfect. No, there is no command, there's not a single condition in this law. And there is not a single exception in the law of karma. This means that nobody can escape the canons of the law. Peoples, gods, everyone, no matter what you are, who you are, you face the consequences of karma. This can be seen with the father of Lord Ram, who had to face the consequences of his past life, where he killed a young Brahmin child by accident, and he was given a curse that he would have to leave his child, or such a thing would have to happen. So as soon as he was born, his son had gone for a 14-year exile. So you can consider the teapot that was drawn before you earlier and see that the main concept can be explained in a very easy way. You do things in life, actions, karma. All these are consciously or subconsciously done. But as you do worse in life, which means you do bad deeds, you go lower in hell, right? You go lower in your world. You sink. And this is as the tea would sink as you put it in the water. Imagine your life is the water in a boiling teapot, and you are the tea that is put in there. And you become unanimous with the water. But as you do worse, as the heat increases, as life goes on, you sink until you are stirred, which is when problems come in, and you could become good or bad. And eventually, it'll take more heat to evaporate off relatively to water, right? And so this is your lower hell than that of someone who's at the water stage during their time of death, because you would be down there and you would sink to the depths of hell, and you would be held there, and as you do wrong deeds, it heats up, the water heats up, and you keep going lower and lower. But if you do good deeds, even if the water is heating up, you will start evaporating. You will leave and you will go higher. As we know, there are levels in heaven for the different, parts of heaven. And alternatively, you can do good, or perhaps due to past lives' karmas, you get a jump start in the exact opposite direction. The Mahabharata also has quite a large amount of mention of karma in it. Draupadi's story is one of these stories that has a lot of mention of it. She was a fireborn princess, and during the Swayamvar, she rejected the sun god's son, Karna, since the only reason she rejected him was he was raised by a low caste man. Now we know that Karna was the son of Kunti, but she hadn't claimed that he was. And so Karna was bestowed with all the qualities that Draupadi wished to have in her husband, but instead of choosing him, she went on to marry Arjun. And then she got shared by all the 5 Pandavas. But if you assume this to be her karma, if you assume this to be what she did and her actions, then there's a very clear drawback where it came in and bit her in the back, where right after that, during the game of dice, and when Shakuni asked to put her on stake, her husband, one of her 5 husbands, Yudhishthir, maybe with some reluctancy, but still, nonetheless, put her on stake during the game of dice. And even on top of that, after they lost her in the game of dice, none of them really went ahead to rescue her when the Kauravas tried disrobing her before everyone. Sure, they had their own reasons. They were already enslaved, they were already won over by Shakuni, and so they couldn't really be doing anything. But if you look back on her karma, she made some action, and that came back and it hit her. And you can call this the normal law of karma as an action and reaction, where it comes back to bite you. One of the other places where karma was quite apparent from the beginning is the Shantanu and Ganga story. You can know that Ganga's her own story is quite dependent on karma, because she is supposed to be the purest rivers in India at this moment and all that time, but the story of how she came to earth was one that was very interesting. And so it was when Lord Vishnu measured the heavens, Lord Brahma washed his feet with some water, and from that water a beautiful girl, Ganga, was born in Lord Brahma's Kamandalam. And so she was born off of Lord Vishnu. So Ganga was at that point of time full of mischief and always pulled pranks on everyone. She danced and sang beautifully, and all the devas and devis and everyone around that loved to come to listen to her and watch her dance, and she danced amazingly. So once many of the devas and the rishis had come to watch Ganga sing and dance. Ganga had just finished dancing when there was a gust of wind. The sage Durvasa, who was known for his extreme anger, and which was likely not a trait that Brahmins normally had, but he had it, and he was ridiculously angry. But he was made ridiculously angry by the smallest of things. And like all rishis at this point, he was dressed in a simple manner. This gust of wind blew away Sage Durvasa's clothing, and everyone, all the devas around and all the other sages and everyone, knowing Sage Durvasa's reputation as an angry man, they all immediately turned around or turned away, and they tried not to laugh at him. However, Ganga, because she was full of mischief, was unable to control herself, and she burst out laughing, looking at this sage. Furious with Ganga, as you'd expect him to be, he called her a proud girl. He said, "You are making fun of me instead of helping me. You do not deserve to live in the heavens. You deserve to go to earth. Go and flow as a river on the earth where you rightly belong." This was a curse set by him, yes, but it was a direct result of her actions, so you can call this a definite karma in that sense. Ganga was shocked, obviously, when she heard these words. Apologetically, she ran to him and begged him to sort of take back his words, but he said, "I cannot take back my words. I am sorry. But since you have been asked, I will grant you a boon that when you flow on the earth, you will be the purest river there. If anyone comes and bathes in your waters, they would be purified of all their sins." If you go on to listen to the story of her coming to earth, there is also a story of Sagar, who had 60,000 sons and all of that. But again, and if you look at her story, when she was let go, whereas she could have left the earth, and when she was coming down to the earth as born, the Vasus, who had played a prank on sage Vashisht, where they tried to steal his cow as he was in deep prayer or something like that. So they were supposed to be born in earth, and they would have to live a normal life. And so the Vasus, knowing that Ganga was already cursed to be going to earth, had requested Ganga to be their mother, so that she could kill them off fast. Otherwise they would have had to live a whole life of misery, and which they did not would not have wanted to do. So Ganga incarnated and became the wife of King Shantanu. We know the King Shantanu story as him going hunting one day and going out to a river, and that river being none other than the Ganga river, and him meeting her, being bestowed by her beauty and her charm. He ended up falling for her, and she said she would be with him on one condition, that he would never question her no matter what she does, or she would leave him then and there. And so he was okay with it, because he said, "Whatever, yeah, it's fine, that's fine with me, whatever you say, I'm okay with anything you say, because I want to get married to you." And so they get married, they live a happy life, and then they start having sons one by one. And this was 8 Vasus that she had to give birth to and kill. And so every time a child was born, she'd take the child, take him to the river and drown him. Every time another child was born, she'd do the same thing. And Shantanu would actually, almost all the children he saw getting drowned, he went out after her and he would see what she's doing. Why is she taking a child away? And he'd see that she's drowning each child. So it goes on from 1 to 2 to 3 and then goes all the way to 7. And she kept drowning them in her own waters, freeing them from their initial punishment, which was what they had discussed in heaven. And the king did not really make any opposition, King Shantanu. But as it kept going all the way to 7th, he started losing. He was always bestowed, he was always distracted by her beauty, her imminent beauty. But he couldn't even have. He had to stop eventually. So by the 7th child, he started getting worried, and he was like, okay. And then when the 8th child came, Ganga tried, but he asked her, why are you doing this? And her initial condition was that he would never question her or she would leave him. So she tells him that you have broken your promise, you have broken your vow, and I am now going to leave. But since you have stopped me before I am killing this 8th child, I will not kill this child, but I will get him trained by the best teachers and everything, and I will return him to you as a man. And Shantanu said, okay, please don't leave. He tried pleading as much as he could because he really liked her and she was keeping him happy, but she had to leave because that is what she had said. And this child was born, and he was eventually known as Devvrat, and who became known as Bhishma, the mighty Bhishma, who took the mighty oath and all of that. All of these things, so you can see how many linked stories there are in the Mahabharata itself that show how a person's karma, a person's actions lead back and affect them either in the same life or a later life, or they are reincarnated in earth, or even how a certain god, because in the older 60,000 sun story of Ganga, even the Lord Indra becomes jealous of the king who has 60,000 sons and was to be doing an auspicious prayer or such ritual that would make him the greatest in the world. And so a lord was already jealous of such a thing, which also tells you that even in heaven, even in the levels of heaven as we talked about, there is karma and there is all that. So even Lord Indra was then punished, or say he repented for what he did after. So basically, in short, you can see that no matter what you do, all your actions count as karma, and you will face some sort of karma off of them eventually. Thank you very much. This was Harshacharya from Ahmedabad University. This is from my course Art of Argumentation from Mahabharata, and I hope my endeavor of karma has not bored you so far.